The Millionaire CEO looked down at his two 6-year-old twins before stepping out of the old borrowed sedan. The faded paint, the squeaky brakes, and the cracked dashboard were all part of a carefully planned disguise. To the outside world, he looked like a struggling single father barely making ends meet. But hidden behind the worn jacket and inexpensive shoes was Ethan Carter, one of the youngest self-made CEOs in the country, worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He wasn't searching for someone impressed by success anymore. He was searching for someone who could love his children before knowing who he really was. If you believe kindness, honesty, and true love still exist in this world, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share where you're watching from. Stories like this remind us that the greatest riches are found in the heart. 3 years earlier, Ethan had buried his wife after a tragic accident that shattered his perfect life. The board members praised him for returning to work within weeks, investors admired his determination, and magazines called him the unbreakable CEO. None of them saw the lonely nights when he sat on the kitchen floor surrounded by children's toys, trying not to cry while his twins asked why mommy never came home. His daughter Emma had stopped drawing family pictures. His son Noah had become quiet, carrying a tiny photo of his mother everywhere he went. Ethan promised himself that no matter how successful his company became, his children would never grow up believing they had been abandoned emotionally. Friends constantly pressured him to start dating again. Business associates introduced him to elegant women who admired expensive restaurants, luxury vacations, and designer handbags. Every conversation somehow returned to his wealth, his company, or the size of his mansion. One woman spent nearly 20 minutes asking about his private jet before remembering to ask the twins' names. Another smiled sweetly at the children but became visibly disappointed when Ethan excused himself to help Noah clean spilled juice instead of discussing investment opportunities. Each failed date convinced him that finding genuine kindness had become almost impossible. Then his elderly housekeeper Martha quietly offered a suggestion. "Sir," she said while folding laundry, "people often treat rich men differently than ordinary fathers. Maybe one day, don't let them know." The idea seemed strange at first. A week later, Ethan created a simple online dating profile using only his first name. He described himself as a widowed father working long hours to support 2 children. He uploaded ordinary photos wearing jeans instead of tailored suits. Hundreds of messages disappeared overnight. Only a handful remained. Most politely declined after learning he had twins. One message caught his attention. "My name is Lily. I teach 1st grade. Raising children isn't easy, but every child deserves someone who listens before judging." Coffee sounds nice. No mention of money. No questions about his career. Only kindness. After several conversations, they agreed to meet at a quiet neighborhood cafe on Saturday morning. Ethan deliberately borrowed an old sedan from one of his longtime employees. He dressed simply and explained the little plan to Emma and Noah. "We're going to meet someone new today." Emma tilted her head. "Do we tell her you're secretly rich?" Ethan laughed softly. "No, sweetheart. Why?" "Because I want to know if she likes us before she knows anything else." Noah looked serious. "So we're playing pretend. In a way. But not lying forever." Ethan smiled proudly. "Exactly." The children accepted the adventure with surprising excitement. When they arrived outside the cafe, Lily was already waiting. She wore a light blue sweater, comfortable jeans, and carried no designer purse. Instead, she held a small paper bag decorated with colorful stars. As Ethan approached, she smiled warmly, not at him first, but at the twins. "You must be Emma and Noah." Both children nodded shyly. "I brought something," Lily said, kneeling to their height. Inside the paper bag were 2 small coloring books and a pack of crayons. "They're not expensive," she admitted, "but every adventure is more fun with colors." Emma's eyes sparkled. "You remembered our favorite animals." "I did." During one of their conversations, Ethan had casually mentioned Emma loved horses while Noah adored dinosaurs. Lily had remembered. Not because she wanted to impress Ethan. Because she genuinely cared. Inside the cafe, Ethan apologized while studying the menu. "I'm sorry. Things have been tight lately. Maybe we should just order coffee." Lily closed the menu immediately. "Coffee is perfect." The twins quietly shared one blueberry muffin. When Noah accidentally knocked over his glass of milk, it spilled across the table and onto Lily's sleeve. Several customers turned around. No's face turned pale. "I'm sorry." Before Ethan could apologize, Lily reached for napkins. "Oh no," she laughed gently. "Looks like the table wanted some milk too." She carefully wiped No's hands before cleaning herself. "It was an accident." The little boy stared at her with wide eyes. "You aren't mad." "Should I be? I spill things. So do adults." Noah slowly smiled for the first time all morning. Ethan noticed something extraordinary. Every previous date had reacted with annoyance whenever the children interrupted. Lily didn't tolerate them. She welcomed them. After breakfast they walked through the nearby park. Emma spotted an elderly woman struggling to carry several grocery bags up a small hill. Before Ethan could say anything, Lily immediately hurried over. "May I help?" Together they carried every bag to the woman's apartment entrance. The grateful woman offered money. Lily politely refused. "I hope someone would help my grandmother too," Emma whispered to Ethan. "She's nice." He nodded silently. Farther along the path, Noah noticed a frightened puppy tangled in bushes near the playground. Without hesitation, Lily carefully untangled the leash while speaking softly to calm the trembling dog. The owner came running moments later, nearly in tears. "I've been searching everywhere." Lily simply smiled. "He's safe now." Again, she expected nothing in return. Not gratitude, not attention, just relief that someone else was okay. As the afternoon continued, Ethan found himself forgetting they were technically on a date. It felt strangely natural, peaceful. The twins laughed constantly. Emma insisted Lily push her on the swings. Noah proudly showed her every interesting rock he discovered. For the first time in years, Ethan watched his children enjoying another adult's company without fear or awkwardness. Then something unexpected happened. While sitting on a park bench, Emma quietly climbed into Lily's lap. Ethan froze. Emma hadn't willingly hugged anyone outside the family since losing her mother. Lily didn't force conversation. She simply wrapped one arm around the little girl and continued watching ducks swim across the pond. After several silent minutes, Emma whispered something. Ethan couldn't hear. Lily's expression softened. She gently kissed Emma's forehead. "It's okay," she whispered back. When Emma returned, Ethan asked softly, "What were you talking about?" Emma shrugged. "I asked if she thought mommy still watches us." His heart tightened. "What did she say?" Emma smiled. "She said real love never disappears. Sometimes it just changes where it lives." Ethan looked at Lily across the pond. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She had answered with honesty instead of empty promises. As evening approached, Ethan offered to drive everyone home. Halfway there, the old borrowed sedan suddenly began making loud coughing noises. Smoke drifted from beneath the hood. The engine died completely. Ethan almost laughed at the terrible timing. They rolled safely onto the roadside. "I'm so sorry," he sighed. "I guess this old thing finally gave up." Lily climbed out without complaint. "Let's push it." "You don't have to." "I know." Together they pushed the heavy car toward a nearby gas station while the twins giggled from inside pretending they were on an adventure. Sweat covered Ethan's face. Lily's hands became dirty from the dusty trunk. Not once did she complain. The mechanic estimated repairs would take several hours. Ethan apologized again. "This is probably the worst first date ever." Lily surprised him. "I disagree." He blinked. "Really? I've learned more about you today than I would during a fancy dinner." "What have you learned?" She smiled gently. "That your children trust you completely." He remained silent. "That you never once became embarrassed because they acted like children." She continued. "And that even when things go wrong, you keep trying instead of blaming everyone else." Ethan lowered his eyes. If only she knew who he really was. Just then, a sleek black luxury SUV slowly pulled into the gas station. The driver stepped out, recognized Ethan instantly, and his face turned white. "Sir, what are you doing here?" Ethan's heart skipped. He knew exactly who the man was. He was one of his company's senior executives. And judging by the shocked expression on Lily's face, the carefully guarded secret was only seconds away from being exposed.